Hi, I'm going to be talking about the TV show, the CW show Gossip Girl that came out September 19th, 2007 and finished on December 17th, 2012. This is a very good show, and like the title of the TV show says, Gossip Girl is about gossip. It's about teenagers, gossip, they don't know who to trust, whether they're telling the truth or lying, and it's a bunch of at the time the actors and actresses was between the ages of 20 to 25 years of age playing high school kids, which is funny. They do that a lot, and they do it with Disney TV shows as well, but very, very funny. But well, I think Taylor Momsen, she played Jenny. She was actually the age that the characters was. I think she was like 13, 14 or something like that. So she was close to the age of the characters, but the rest of them was 20 to 25 years of age. But very, very good show, and I've never the show is based on, they have a bunch of books and it's based on that, and then they made it into a TV show, but came out 2007. But I don't really read books and didn't read them. It's not really my thing, and don't really read them, but I have watched the show. I like the show. It's very, very good, and it's very, very raunchy. Americans, any American that see this, I'm British as you can tell, and in the UK, British TV and stuff like alcohol and sex and stuff like that isn't really a big deal. Whereas America, for you guys, in America, sex and underage drinking and stuff like that is a very, very big deal, especially like sex and stuff like that. So it's a very, very huge deal. And in the UK, there was a TV show called Skins. I never seen it. My mates and a lot of people said it's good, but the UK isn't really, they don't really care. We don't really care. They don't really care about sex or underage drinking or that type of thing on British TV. In America, it's different, very, very different. And this was definitely one of the more raunchy TV shows, especially it being in America. So, especially at the time, 2007 when it got released. So, yeah, very, very big deal. But it was like one of the big raunchy things, and it's, like I say, it's about gossip. You have some very, very good actors and actresses in it. Obviously, the main one that everyone knows is Blake Lively. And actually, believe it or not, I didn't actually know, but Ed Westwick is actually British, and I didn't realize, but he did a very good American accent, in my opinion. I didn't even know he was British, but he is. Very, very good actors and actresses. Obviously, it's glamorous. It's in New York City. They're all rich. Well, Dan and Jenny are not. They're like, I guess, lower class, or they're poor, whatever, where the rest of them are very rich. Their parents are wealthy and they don't want to accept Dan and Jenny or whatever, and then eventually they do. But that's the one thing I always say about this show is they look down on Dan, they look down at Jenny, they look down at any character that's not them, and especially Blair Waldorf. Now, let's talk about Blair Waldorf. I love her as a character. The actress that played her did a very, very great job. She's evil, she's nasty, she's not good, and she's very, very horrible. Especially Georgina. I mean, Georgina is very, very bad. I mean, Georgina is probably the worst, horrible, evilest character on the show. She's worse than Blair, and Serena was basically like Georgina. But Serena, she comes back from boarding school, she ran away, and she's basically trying to turn her life around, and Dan's the only one that really sees her at the start for being a human and trying to change and stuff like that. But that's not what ends up happening. And it goes in a decline. But yeah, Blair Waldorf, very, very evil. She gets her own way. And her mother is actually the one that actually sees through Blair's bullshit and wisdom and everything that she does, and she kind of hates her mother for it, which fair enough. But yeah, I do like the show. It's very raunchy, like I said, very great. It's very, very long. They do have amazing, great guest stars on it, and I think they're all amazing. Penn Bagley that played Dan, obviously he was in You recently. I did actually watch that. He did a great job of playing the character in You. I'll probably do a video about that, but very, very good. As far as Gossip Girl, and also it's got 7.5 out of 10 on IMDb and 84% Rotten Tomatoes for you Americans, but we say tomatoes. But, and obviously there was a bunch of spin-off Gossip Girl. I haven't really watched them. I've watched videos of people talking about them. I haven't really watched them. Pretty Little Liars, the same thing. Bunch of spin-offs. I haven't watched them. I'd rather just watch the original. As far as the original Gossip Girl though, and especially for the time, like I said, 2007, at that time, the social media started to become very, very big during the late 2000s. I mean, Pretty Little Liars used it more, and that whole social media thing at the time, but Gossip Girl did it. Obviously, I'm not saying they did it first, but they definitely used that social media stuff to the next level and how it was. And the woman that does the voice of the actual Gossip Girl, I can't remember the actress's name, but she's been in loads of huge stuff and she did a very, very great job. Also, I want to talk about how right at the end they say that Dan was Gossip Girl. I mean, it's always a debate. I can understand both sides of it. Dan, the outsider, him and his sister Jenny, they're the outsider, the poor ones, they're not rich. And he wants to be a part of this world, and he's looking at the outside, looking in and seeing all these pretty people, rich, wealthy, good-looking people, and he's not. So I can understand that angle of it, him being Gossip Girl, but at the same time, it really doesn't make sense. Him, and even the actual actors and actresses, and the actual actor that plays Dan actually said it himself on many interviews that it doesn't make sense for Dan to be Gossip Girl, and all the rest of them have. Even Blake Lively said that the creators of the show didn't really know who Gossip Girl really was. And from what people have said, again, I haven't read the books, but from what people have said, in the books, there was no Gossip Girl. Like, they never got revealed. I think just like Pretty Little Lies, I think they wanted a name to the face, so they were just like, oh, let's go with Dan, because he's the outsider, the poor kid, him and his sister Jenny. But it doesn't really make sense for the most part, Dan being Gossip Girl. It doesn't really make that much sense, but it is what it is. And I think it's very, very good. One of my favourites is definitely up there. But it does show, technically, I know it's a TV show, it's not real. All the actors and actresses are of age. They was like 20 to 25 years of age. But it's basically high school kids getting drunk, doing drugs, doing stuff that's illegal. Even here in the UK. Well, stuff like sex and stuff like that here in the UK is like, the legal consent is 16. But in America, I think for you guys, it's like 21. But everywhere should be 21 plus. Anyway, that's another story. But yeah, and I think it's good. I mean, it is very, very drawn out. 6 seasons, 121. That's how many episodes there are. Oh yeah, there was that. I can't remember the character's name that Nate Archibald talks to, and she's like underage, and then she's trying to basically convince him it's a good idea, even though it's not. Oh, the one thing I will say is that the Blair and Dan, that's not really that good either. A lot of people even agree with that. I don't think it's that good. That relationship, I don't know what they was trying to do there. It was like the Rachel and Joey from Friends relationship. If you watch Friends, then you'll know what I'm talking about. Obviously, it was Hilary Duff. She was in it. Very, very great actress. So many actors and actresses talented from other shows and movies that have been in the Gossip Girl. So very, very good. And also, I just remembered they had like a flashback, and Jessica Jones, she played like the younger version of one of the characters, I can't remember, and it was meant to be like a backdoor pilot for another show they was going to do, but didn't really do that well, or they didn't really do it, so they just kind of cancelled it. But I like TV shows where they show the where they do like the backstory and stuff like that, and they show like the past, and they show scenes that was technically from the past, and then you get to see them, or the characters when they're younger and stuff like that. And a lot of the characters are very, very evil, and there's always a thing with the kids and the parents, and like I said, they're always blaming Dan and Jenny, and even though they do it all, and I know it's one of them things where it's like, oh, just because they do it doesn't mean you can just do it, but at the same time, they blame Dan when he does everything and kick him to the curb. when he does something wrong, even though they've done 100 million billion things wrong throughout the whole show. But you still gotta love it. The glitz and the glam is, most of us can't relate to it, but we can relate to the characters, or if we knew anyone like that. There's a lot of drama and pettiness, and Serena and Blair are always arguing. They don't want to talk to each other, and then the next episode they make up and they're like best friends again. It's always repeat, repeat, repeat. But you know what? It is what it is. But still like the show. Definitely up there. Watched it a couple of times, and I like that. And you get to see the perspective from both sides. I like seeing TV shows or movie franchises, especially TV shows, where you see both sides of the spectrum. If you're a guy, you get to see the female perspective. If you're a girl, you get to see the male perspective. So that's good. Oh, I do like the character of Eric though. That's very, very good. He's not really in it that much. They was actually gonna make Eric Gossip Girl, but it ended up coming out, and then people guessed it, so he didn't go with that. But Dorota, even the actress that played Dorota, said that they thought that she was gonna be Gossip Girl, but it didn't really end up happening. But that would have been a good idea, making Dorota Gossip Girl. And some people even said, well, why would she do that to Blair? She loves Blair, whereas her mother doesn't. But people have said because it's Dorota, which is true. But I think all the actors and actresses are talented. They're great. They've all gone on and done other things. Like I said, I think very, very good characters. The writers and producers did it, but the writing on might not. I mean, it was good at the start. I mean, I felt like it was great. The show didn't really. It was good like later on, but not really. It was kind of like repeat, 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 and. But when Georgina came on screen, I just know all havoc and shit was gonna get fucked up. So that was good. And Blair, she's always evil and act like she's nice, but she's really not. So yeah, I do like the show. I always like. Everyone likes a villain. Everyone likes the underdog. Everyone likes a villain. Everyone likes the evil one. Chuck and Blair, 1 minute they love each other and then they don't want to be with each other, and then one of them sleeps with someone, and then. But it is what it is. But I like Chuck Bass. Like I said, Ed Westwick, he did a great job. Didn't even realise he was British. I didn't. Some people may have, but I didn't even realise he was. But, his father, by the way, Bart Bass, I didn't really care that his father ended up dying. Well, it was like fake death, and I think he did die for real. But I didn't really care. I was kind of glad because I don't really like that character. Even the actor did a very, very good job. All the actors and actresses did great, but yeah. But I know there was like drama and stuff behind the scenes. I don't really pay attention to that. It's not me. I don't really care. I mean, it kind of makes sense. There was drama going on behind the scenes, and people spoke about that. And it's Gossip Girl. What do you expect? It's not like any other show. But yeah, very, very good show. One of my favorites. Tell me what you think down below.